Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. We are in a bit of a strange situation. I'm in a new room with no soundproofing and a whole bunch of echo, so I hope everything doesn't sound too terrible to you lot. I also am currently using internet that is being tethered from my phone through a USB cable to my PC, as I have not had the time to set up my LAN connection. So this is going to be a very haphazard, potentially technically difficult episode of Retake the Week, but we are still going to bring it to you with powering through. I'm surrounded by literal trash bags, which are filled to the brim with clothes, every last one of them. We have yet to unpack everything, considering we got moved in yesterday. At about 6 p.m. is when we finally got everything into this apartment. So it is still chaos in here. It looks like a bombshell. A bomb went off, but not anywhere. It looks like a bomb went off at a tip, so it's just a nightmare. But hey, we're still going to do the show, and thank you, of course, before we get into any of the details, the segments, the takes, the retakes, thank you to the members who make this show available on audio-only platforms and also help me to fund my lavish lifestyle of living amongst trash bags. But hey, it's a slightly nicer part of London. They get access, of course, to the King's Court interviews, the BTS segments, which we just completed, any other shows or VODs or live streams that would be recorded, they get access to by default. Doesn't have to be specially released. And then, of course, they get access to their own podcast, which is the Contributor Cast, of which the contributors, names you down there, get to decide the topics and also get to debate with me on air what should be taken away from those topics. They have their own opinions, basically. So thank you to those people for making themselves contributors, supporters of this channel and the work I'm doing. Quack. Anything to add, anything to throw in before we get straight into what has been a very interesting week of Blast Bounty and Starladder Fall qualifications?
All the usual crap. Regular listeners will know. Read my articles, read the newsletter, watch the other podcast, all of that stuff. I think, last week I did this thing where, like, for every like, I'll walk 300 meters and, like, thing over the weekend. It was really fun. But you guys fucking under-delivered, so I'm gonna do it again. I'll post it later today, and this time I actually want you to, like, I want you to fuck my legs up. Like, come on, give me. Yeah. This is blatant engagement bait, but like,
it is. Yeah, I'm not liking and retweeting that shit. I'm not engaging your engagement bait.
Somebody else will fight against King T, people. Fight against him.
Do you really want to encourage that regicide now of all in this economy? I'm not sure anyone should take that advice, but let's get straight into it with a special little segment.
That'll be up tonight or tomorrow. Yeah.
We've got a little special segment because, of course, Blast Bounty happened, the online portion at least, but rather than just stick up a lower third and just yap and ask quack questions instead, we've got a very special segment here. It's called Did It Matter? So we are going to put up teams, their logos on screen. Then we've got our two little faces. I'm going to drag them to which one of those categories are most applicable for our opinions, for our takeaways from this event. Because, yeah, not every result, I think, carries the same weight, especially not for us who are going to be talking about the season to come, rather than necessarily just looking at these results to tell us a whole lot of anything, really. So, Quack, because you are here, as you are every week, and as a reward for your continued ability to turn up somewhat on time, we're going to start with a Swedish team. Eyeballers. Quack, did that result mean anything? Did it matter? They lost 2-0 to FaZe. Did you have any takeaways, anything of importance? Because me personally, I'm just going to get mine out of the way so you can let loose as much as you want. For me, doesn't matter. This does not in any way change my opinion of Eyeballers, who they are as a team, as a project. This, to me, was just a run-of-the-mill loss. So, Quack, give it to us. How much should we take away from this?
Right. I think it's a shame Eyeballers picked FaZe. I think it would have been a super interesting game to see. It would have been very nice narratively, considering they beat them in the last Blast Bounty. Different team, but still FaZe. It's 1-1 because they very nearly missed out on playoffs in China at FaZe's hand. So it would have been nice to get revenge for that, get the leg up, make it 2-1 over the year. That would have been nice. But they picked them in a game where they had a stand-in, and they knew they had a stand-in. And it was never really gonna be all that good, was it? They played with Youngstar, for those of you who missed it. Maxter, and this is honestly the problem with what I think Eyeball said. Honestly, to be honest, if you're going into this event, you might as well take FaZe. It was the best pick. Like, it would have been dumb to pick anybody else. But I do think it's a little bit of a shame because they do now have that loss on record in like a game that they knew the circumstances weren't going to be the best. And I do think it's it's honestly strange that, like, I get the reasoning. They'd already given Maxter a vacation period before they got the invite because they got a wildcard invite quite late. It was not like something they expected to happen. But like, I think it's super weird in this period of the year when the season is starting up and you know there are going to be tier 1 events happening. Why do you give Maxter a vacation? Why do you give one player a vacation period but not the others? Is also a weird thing. And especially considering your season has already started because they were in China. So I'm sure behind the scenes there's a lot of reasons for it. And I'm sure, like, obviously Maxter should have a vacation. I know there's been like burnout things previously in his career and stuff like that. But the entire game takeaway I have from that game is that it's super weird decision making. And gameplay wise, no, it doesn't matter. They played with a stand-in. This is not proper eyeballers. It might not even be proper FaZe because HOTU still doesn't have a contract, as far as we know. So, yeah, no, I would say it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, because it could have mattered a lot. It would have been a huge win for eyeballers. Or a huge loss if they'd actually, like, tried. But that's the thing. I'm sure they tried their very best. Youngstar definitely tried his very best. Yeah, holy shit, he was on fire that game. He was on fire that game. But it's not eyeballers. Like, it doesn't say anything about them because they were missing Maxter, who is, like, now that Bob XD is gone, I would say the most important player on that team. So.
Okay. Eyeballs, we both say doesn't matter. You for very different reasons to me. Even if this was the full lineup, I wasn't even expected that much different because without Bob XD, this is a very weird sort of position for eyeballers. I don't expect a whole lot of them to start off the season. So yeah, let's move on from eyeballers because up next, how do I do what I'm trying to do right now? I think I have to do it separately. Oh, that's annoying. Right. Aurora. This is a big one. This is a huge one because they are one of the most important teams of the offseason. They made multiple moves. Not a lot of teams did that. They even brought in a new coach. And they came into this event a bit distracted almost because they had two things going on at the same time. And I don't know how exactly the VRS is shaping up, but considering where they're starting the season, I don't think for them it's too important that they specifically make these playoffs. It's not like one of those deep in the slums sort of ranked teams who need every win to count. So for Aurora, I think there's a lot less to play for, but also, you know, it's a fresh team. The first look with them. Quack, quickly give me your thoughts on Aurora, specifically at this event, and after we've talked about them at this event, we can talk about them in general because they were quite active.
I don't think I can really take it without thinking about that other event, because to me it is a blip on the radar. I think they lose playing a bad game. It's early days with a new caller, new coach, new language. With the context of what happened in other events parallel to this one, I think this is just a blip, because teams of the same caliber as Focus lost to Aurora 4 times in the other event that they played. It was just this one loss to Focus, which was shame for them, for Aurora. But it's impactful. Like, it's I think it matters a lot for the season, to be honest. This would have been a great start to the season. But it's not like I move them around too much on my internal ranking.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I'm a bit... You know, I kind of think it does matter. And here's why. It's not like I'm saying this in isolation. If we just had seen this game, nothing else from them, I could have dismissed it. As you know, I'm going to probably dismiss a lot of the big teams getting upset. But firstly, they are a team who made changes. So I do have to come at them with a pretty critical eye in terms of how did you get better? Did you get better? But then also I had to take into consideration what I saw around them. They played 5 best of 3s in the span of 4 days, predominantly against very low-level opposition. That includes This team Echo, which is a bunch of Danes kind of crammed together. But then otherwise HOTU, Nemesis, K27, and Focus. A lot of tier 2 teams with aspirations, but tier 2 teams nonetheless in online play. And they were clean in none of them. Absolutely none of them. So for me, this matters because this just adds to this picture that we have of Aurora right now are trying to do a lot. As far as getting everyone on the same page, there's a lot to do. This isn't just like a little thing like, oh, this little bit of chemistry needs work, or this player isn't used to playing with these guys. It's like, no, we're trying to speak a different language, integrate new pieces with a new coach, new caller. This is going to be hectic. So I appreciate the fact that they did win their games to go through in the Starladder Series Fall qualifier. Like, that's great. They made it out. But it's proof kind of right here that this is a team that is fresh and still struggling, still trying to put it all together. And talent gets them over the line. Like, more than anything else, like Wicardia, Bangs, Jimmy has some huge maps. I mean, so far he's at a 118 average for the games he's played with this team. 14 maps, 118, like he said, really strong. They've not looked clean. It's not looked pretty. It's looked very difficult to get done. And I think that's my cause for concern. I'm not saying they can't ever get good or won't ever be good. I still think this is a very competent sort of series of moves they made. Like, GMing wise, this was a good investment, a good set of pickups. I'm just saying it is asking a lot of each piece to fit in together to make this work. It's going to be very difficult. And I think that's the first clear sign. So we should be looking at a team that's going to struggle, I think, to be consistently placing for at least a month or two. And that's our warning. So for me, it matters. But again, it's all in the big picture, like in terms of everything I saw from them. That's why I thought if we maybe try and touch on it separately, it's hard to, though. As you said, it's hard to. We have to have the rest of those results in mind. And yes, Aurora's debut, I guess. It wasn't really, because they played 2 best of 3s the day before in the qualifier. It gets off to a rocky start, and a loss to a weakened Focus, I think, isn't a good sign.
Yeah, no, it's not a great sign. Focus as well, also a new team with some new players.
Yeah, I don't mean weakened as in the players that sounded bad. Like, Jocab and Bodhi are good players. It's just they are also a fresh lineup. You don't get credit for being new when you play them.
No, and other new teams, I'd give them some leeway to having like a firepower loss to Jocab and Pody, to be honest.
But they
Centaurs and Wicardia, I would not. No, like
yeah, you can't be losing to that team. Who Jocab and Pody, by the way, neither one of them was even a 1.0 rating. Like, you lost to Banjo, ZTR, and Mateos. Like,
yeah, well, Banjo, to be fair, yeah, but yeah,
Banjo
anyway.
fucks out of his roles. But that's the entire point. Like, he's not taking 35% openers, like just banging you out. So it is a very different sensation. No, I do think this is an ugly start and a sign of things to come. At least for the first few months, it's going to be ugly. But yeah, first little bit of disagreement. Next, this one should be interesting. We're coming to Sweden again. Astralis. Now, we come to Sweden because FaZe is the point of a lot of people's attention. Let's put it that way. A lot of people are focusing
500
on
years
FaZe
ago,
right now.
you would have just 500 years ago that would have been a very touchy subject. We're coming to Sweden, West Sweden to be exact, southwest.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, but anyway.
Denmark, they're Danish.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. But
yeah,
just talking about FaZe. Just talking about FaZe anyway. But yeah, they did win their opening game against Nemesis. Again, the sort of team that Aurora beat in their qualifier run, but dropped a map to, that were kind of critical of. And then in the next game, they played HOTU and won 2-1. So they get it done against relatively weak opposition. They make playoffs. The situation with FaZe continues to be interesting, though, because they win both games. I can't remember how his numbers looked in that Nemesis game. Yeah, his numbers against Nemesis were fine, but you saw what everyone's been complaining about against HOTU, where he's a .89 lower rated than HOTU. I saw a stat on screen during, I think it must have been one of the Astralis maps from btrams, talking about how he's lower rated than HOTU, or has fewer kills than HOTU over the last 3 months. Like, it's a pretty dire situation. So Astralis, they get the wins, tight wins over relatively weak opposition. What are your thoughts on this one?
It matters. Last bounty, with the fact that you get to pick your opponent, naturally means that it's going to favor the teams who sit sort of in the middle 2 quarters of the seeding, because they're going to get to play each other, while you get increasingly unbalanced matches in the upper end. And this is true for a lot of events, but like specifically Blast Bounty, when you get to pick, it gets even more so. And you also get to pick like your favorable matchups. Like for like a team like Nemesis, it's probably a toss-up. If you want to play Astralis, or if you want to play somebody else around them, let's say Gamer Legion. But if you prefer the matchup against Astralis, you get to pick them. So they've had a very easy run. Probably the easiest run out of anyone except maybe Pain. So that being said, for these games to be this close is bad outright. I think FaZe definitely has more to give. I think he's slightly, I'm not going to say hard done by, because he obviously could and should have done more. He does have a good final map, which is the longest map of the series. It's the closing map. It's the map that they win. It's a map that they come back on as well. And there he is. It's very good. It's a 22-14 with a 120 rating. It's just the nuke map is so abysmal. And he did basically nothing in the 13-1 on cash. So I think he's slightly betrayed by like the series average in terms of numbers. But it also has been kind of a slump at the end of last season, which doesn't look like it's turning around at the moment. But yeah, they've made it through. I would say that it matters. The way that they won matters. I don't know. It's like they won. And like if they had just won in regular fashion against these teams, if it was the way you expect like they're 18th at the moment, the way you expect the 18th team in the world to beat the 45th team in the world right now, if that's how it would have gone down, it wouldn't have mattered. But even with them winning, it matters because of the way they won. That's what I think. Because you need more out of FaZe, to be honest. And I don't think, like, people sometimes are very down on FaZe, and I can see that with how his form has been. Without bias, I think we all know he can give more. I think we've all seen that he has given more before. Yeah. It's just something is not really clicking at the moment. And maybe with time, now that they have a new coach, that can help. They have like I talked about last week, they have a new sports psychologist who is accomplished and well regarded. And that's the kind of thing that often helps with individual performances. So let's see what happens there. But that's going to be a development process. That's not going to happen in your first couple of games. But I also know that he does sort of, I consider FaZe to be a player who shows up under pressure, who shows up when they get to playoffs, who shows up on LAN. So I'm excited to see how it actually goes in the finals. TLDR, it matters.
TLDR, it matters. Yeah, there you go. For me, you know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because I'm just talking about from the end of last season to the start of this one. Astralis have changed coach, changed performance coach. And we see again, those positions clearly fraudulent, don't do anything. It's the same old Astralis. We're going to dismiss it offhand and just be like, this is just Astralis. It's just where they are right now. They can win ugly over middling teams and make it to the LAN portion here. Ultimately, I think they can continue to struggle a bit. So they lack firepower out of FaZe. Ryu still struggles to do a whole lot of anything. Yabi can have pop-off maps, and Stare is consistently solid and still plays a few like kind of off roles and doesn't ever take resources the way an ego, like a star player's ego should. Like he does allow things to come to him and flow through him rather than he takes things, which will still limit his output and his production, his ability to win games for them. I think Astralis will still continue to lack firepower and still look a bit iffy. They'll win a couple games when HOOXie's calling a hot one, you know, when he's got the read and he's feeling it, because he does have those games where he does just call a blinder. But overall, they're still going to be a limited team. They're still going to be slightly hamstrung by pieces being out of form and other pieces not being able to do enough to kind of obfuscate that. So, yeah, for me, it's the same old, same old. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to be here saying that about Astralis coming into this season. So I was hoping they'd take that break to flip it around, and that we'd see like a crazy performance in the online portion, and then we'd see like maybe even like a top 4 run in the, like an upset win in that quarterfinal, just to make it juicy. But nah, nothing like that. So yeah, let's move on from the Danes, kind of. And let's talk about the French. Everyone's favorite, the French. 3D Max. They've made it to the LAN portion as well. In the opening game, who was it they beat? Magic, there you go. A plucky little sort of tier 2 tier 1.5 almost team who are really pushing for sort of tier 1.5 to tier 1 stability, but they haven't found it yet because they have results like this. And then after that, took on FUT, everyone's darling. The team everyone really wants to be top 10, but never quite is. Like, it just isn't a top 10 team yet because of things like this as well. And they obviously, we've seen FUT had a move, and we'll talk about FUT later down the pecking order of this show. But yeah, off rip, 3D Max, Quack, Kersey to Rifle. Is it hot shit or what? Like, have they sorted it out again? Have they magically figured out the best French combo without using any Vitality players?
Oh, it was great in the first game, but then he's a 0.84 when they beat FUT. Like, yeah, I was about to say that, like, oh, hey, that's pretty good, and then nah, that's nothing. This is 3D Max. This is probably the level they're at. Like, beating FUT when FUT are having maybe not their best day. FUT are having a new player they have to integrate. Probably how good 3D Max are on their best day. We know that doesn't matter. Within a month's time, they will have lost to a team outside of the top 50. I guarantee it. I'll put my honor on the fact that within a month's time from now, by the 27th of August, 3D Max will have lost at least one game to a team ranked outside of the top 50 in the world, assuming they play that many games. Assuming they play one of those teams, I'll say. And I'll come back on the 27th and I'll report back on that, but it's gonna happen because this is 3D Max. They do not. They beat Magic and they beat FUT. A day before that, they lost to Walsaki. Like, it's just not, it doesn't compute.
Walsaki, the best Polish team in the scene right now.
Online. No, but yeah, it just doesn't compute. And it's not going to be sustainable. Walsaki are outside of the top 50 right fucking now, man.
Yeah, so you're saying it doesn't matter. That's the main takeaway.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like,
you're just right. You're just right on this one.
You guys suck.
3D Max, this is the frustrating thing about them. It's predictable, but it's frustrating. They've made a move. It hasn't really changed anyone's perception of them. It's like they're going to be gambly, streaky. If guys like Gravity and Exercise and all these guys like who are kind of streaky gamers hit some shots, like their style's going to look crazy and effective. But in general, you will realize that they're throwing out random ideas whilst also just repeatedly bunching up and hitting the same thing. Like I saw on one of their Dust 2 maps they were playing, it was just like, yo, what if we had everyone short and Exercise in tons over and over again? And I was like, this is why you went from 5-0 up to a 7-5 half. Like, you're just not that deep, that detailed, that great a team right now. But they got the wins. And as you said, in a few months' time, or even less, maybe a month's time, they will again lose to a Walsaki level team. Or they'll lose in an actual event, because Walsaki won't be there, to the worst team at the event alongside them. And then it'll just be like, all right, 3D Max are back. The flawless team, not with a W, double OR, the flawless team are back. They can lose to absolutely any old group of 5. They are the team that Valve envisions is every tier 1 side. It's like the random 5 guys who show up to play the open quality of the major, well, used to envision, can beat 3D Max. You're like, yeah, I'll give you that. They can beat 3D Max. Any old 5 can on their day. And that's a shame. So yeah, nothing's really changed there. It's the same old group of Frenchmen. Do you buy into the idea that this is all like a sort of stepping stone in their progression into a different roster, with Maka dropped, Kersey takes the AWP, we get a new IGL in, or something like that? Like, there was a slight bit of speculation when that move was announced. After seeing them play, do you buy into that? Or do you think if it could have happened, it won't now?
The angle of that would probably have to be like a coup d'etat of Gravity, who seems very keen on... I've been at LANs where I've seen games where Maka and Gravity argue, fight mid-game, which is, considering, I mean, the two have sort of juggled the IGL role a little bit back and forth. That's not ideal. And if a move like that happens, that's what has happened. I don't really know if that's going to be the case. I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened already. But I don't think that's why they signed Kersey. I don't think it's that sort of long-term thinking, because then they might as well have done it now, to be honest, if they really wanted to. I'm sure that, I don't know 3D Max's economics. I know that there was talk about that team having monetary problems, not being able to potentially selling the team. But I would like FaZe also reportedly having monetary problems. I would have imagined if they wanted to make a move like that, they would have at least talked to HOTU now that he's available. And like tried to make something happen.
Yeah, there. If the move was Gravity takes IGL, but if the move was Gravity isn't taking IGL, you actually get a different IGL in, just to settle it once and for all, or completely change the culture.
Yeah.
Then maybe you don't need to talk to HOTU. But no, I see where you're going with that. But let's move on to another team with a. I don't know how to describe this roster, but after the first round, they were interesting. Wildcard. The name was appropriate, let's put it that way, because no one expected a whole lot from them. No one's really been paying attention to them since they moved into this era with Nemiga, Sixy's now there, whatever he called himself. I never remember if it's Sixy or Sexy. In the same way, I don't ever remember if it's Symmetry or Cemetery. But in any case, Wildcard beat Alliance in their opening game, which... What a strange matchup. Firstly, two teams you just don't expect to see playing each other, but then also an absolute battering of the Swedes, followed by a pretty complete loss to the Mongolz. Are you starting to get some sort of faith built or some belief in this wildcard roster, this edition, this semi-international edition, I guess, of Wildcard? Is there something to it? Have they started brewing, cooking, scheming up something competent?
I don't think 60 or Rec are ever going to be outright liabilities for a team like Wildcard, but they're the kind of players that I don't think will ever move the needle at a true top level.
Right.
Nemanja, I think, has done a pretty good job. I think Nemanja has probably silenced a lot of haters who thought that he was a cheating match-fixing dog on Zero Tenacity, like to quote them. But like, I probably silenced quite a lot of critics there. MHL, I think, is quality. Hext is obviously quality, but like, that's a nice core. Nemanja, MHL, and Hex is a core that I can believe in. And while 60 and Rec are fine, never a liability, they're also very replaceable. Like, you could put other people in there and make a decent side.
Right.
The win against the Lions, I don't think necessarily proves anything there. I think Alliance played the worst game they've played since signing Bob XD, and honestly, I think Alliance more so lost to, not to themselves, but Alliance very much enabled this wildcard win. At least the way it looked. This wildcard win should not look like this. So,
okay,
I would say for wildcard it doesn't matter that much. I'm more concerned about Alliance, but for wildcard it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you're too far off. I mean, to be clear, Alliance are 25th on VRS, wildcard are 77th going into that game. Like, that is a pretty big deal. And just to touch on the Nemanho thing, I'm not sold on that core, the Nemanho MHL Hext core, because I've not seen, firstly, MHL play a real opponent for years, right? Because he's been in the Wildcard Academy since coming back to something vaguely relevant, and then now with Wildcard they play mostly NA and things like that. Yeah. And then Nemanho, like you said, he's proven everyone wrong. Like, has he? Maybe I did.
He's proven some people wrong.
Maybe I did. He's cheating. Maybe he's still playing online CS. He's playing NA teams. Comes here, crushes one set of Swedes, and then loses convincingly to the Mongolz. Like, maybe you can give him some. Maybe the Mongolz turn out to be the best team of the year, but whatever. I don't see. Honestly, the match fixing thing will never go away. That's never going to be disproven by any result. So I'm just in a bit of a weird spot where I'm like, I like Hext a lot, and I wish for Hext the best. And I think this win is a trend in the right direction. But I think you nailed it with the 6C and the Rec part of this. Neither one is so terrible that this team can't go beat an Alliance level team. Like, can't go beat the 30th best team, the 25th best team in the world. Like, they still have the upside in MHL, in especially Hext, to go beat that level of team. But they're not going to be consistent. They're not going to be consistent challengers against those teams, and they're not going to make the major, over and over again and climb the VRS. So I'm going to say this series of events matters, because for me it proves conclusively what is and isn't functional about Wildcard. And honestly, I think for me spells the sort of inevitable doom of the North American core. Like, I think this team, to get better, to become more relevant, has to just be a European core. Or maybe European and whatever else. But I feel one of 60 or Hex or Rec has to go, if not both, depending on who's available. And that just means they probably won't be North American anymore, because I don't think you get better if you're Wildcard. Like, you don't get better in NA as Wildcard. So yeah, short of some crazy coup, it's not going to be much different. So yeah, for me it matters, but it's just for what it proved more than anything else. All right, it's time for a big one. Time for a very big one. Vitality. Here we go. They come into this season having lost their edge, their sort of dominance at the end of the last one, and lose to Liquid. Quack, what's your opinion?
Is the era over, King T? Has the era ended again? The second era? The second Vitality era?
Oh, I mean...
Look, I said this in your Discord
maybe
last week.
I can't say if you have or haven't, because most of the time you're in my Discord talking, you talk way too much, and I ain't reading all that. Summarize your points. Why do it always have to be like 50 million messages just like scattered across?
I'm figuring it out as I'm typing, man. You get to see my thought process. This is my behind the scenes.
It's horrifying.
If this was, let's say, Vitality, let me just change the course of history, right? The end of last season. In Atlanta, Vitality finished second. They lose in the final instead of losing in the quarterfinal. In the major, they lose in the semifinal to, let's say, Falcons. Just the draw was different. And, like, it's just one of those crazy games. And they come into here and lose to Liquid online in a random game against a team with a new in-game leader and new Whopper. I'd probably smooth over it a bit more. But fact of the matter is that they've now gone out quarterfinal, first game of Blast Bounty. It's starting to make a pattern now. It doesn't even have to be that they had to continue their winning streak at the end of last season, but I would have at least respected back-to-back top fours and a grand final in there. Now it's just like, because who was it? They lost to Navi in Atlanta, in the first game.
Navi, then lost to Falcons.
I think they're on a downturn, and especially with those losses in mind, if that's how you end the season, how honestly, as far as I remember him saying in one of the post-game interviews, how devastating that loss to Falcons was for Apex. I would have expected them to have done more over the break. I don't know what they've been doing. I'm assuming they've been doing something, but I would have expected them to come in a little bit more hot with maybe a bit more oomph, which they didn't really have at all.
So for you, this matters. This is the signal that they are.
For me, this matters. Yes. Okay. Vitality will have to change my mind in the Esports World Cup. Otherwise, I'm down on them heading into the rest of the season.
Okay. Here's why this doesn't matter. Now, your disappointment, and a lot of people's disappointment, is predicated on the same idea. Right? It's the same idea. It's Vitality have had such a disappointing end to the last season that they just have to come into this one with fire, with something burning, something raging to prove themselves once again. Motherfucker, this is Blast Bounty Online. They spent the entirety of the last season working their ass off to the point that they could barely fucking play, apparently, at Atlanta. And you're telling me they would then spend their fucking summer holiday trying? Like, training, grinding to get... No, fuck no. They are one of the many teams, there's a group of them, who had to probably fully disconnect. Like, fully take the summer off. Like, and actually not prac, not grind. And kind of ignore this event. Like, semi-ignore this event. That's the way I see it. That's why, for me, it's not a catastrophe. It's not a signaling. This is not the end of their age of bronze. Like, this isn't this isn't the downfall. I'm sorry, if anyone's watched the Odyssey, like, just one of the funniest lines in the Odyssey to me. But this is not the downfall of Vitality's era. This is more, I think, an expected blip. I think a part of it might be we'll get to Liquid. It might have more to do with Liquid than it has to do with Vitality. Like, this is just them coming over from their holiday, dragging themselves onto their PCs and just be like, oh, we've got to play now. Maybe getting a day or two of Prakinch to look serviceable as functional humans. And FlameZ, of course, when times are tough, FlameZ balls the fuck out. But Zywoo mid, Rops pretty mid, Mezzy and Apex played like they're supposed to, given their roles. It's just naturally we're expecting way more. But in a loss, played terribly. It just is what it is. I'm not too fussed. I will wait their next event before making any real judgment. Like, they have much more rope than that for me. But they at least get that for this conversation. I at least have to see them truly shit the bed at the Esports World Cup, which, as we all know, is the most important event of the year. So yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. It's where we came. It's what we come to.
I would say that it matters because it might be the start of something. I'm not out on them, and they might very well turn around and play a much better Esports World Cup. To be honest, it's still an important event for them. It's
it's because a huge prize pool. Like, it's
yeah, and I do think a lot of people just don't care that much about Blast Bounty. Yeah. Like, I don't care that much about Blast Bounty. So it's in that sense, I think you might be right, but they'll have to prove me right. Like, they're on the stepping stone now. They're on, they're on the stairs, and they might take a step down if they don't perform at the Esports World Cup. But to be honest, a lot of teams are going to do that. I'm sure we're going to get to them because a lot of teams are right now like. This is also one thing that I said that a lot of the top teams lost here, and we'll get on to that. At this rate, there's like one team who have to be good, otherwise nobody's going to be good in the fall season, and we're going to have the shittiest season of all time. Because fuck.
It's official. Vitality, they're on the stairs. Next.
They're on the stairs.
Another team who are on the stairs. 100 Thieves. They started out with the massive upset, the upset of all upsets. They managed to defeat major champions Falcons 2-1 on a 13-11 Anubis decider as well. A pretty insane game, and that's a game where Gizmy, top rating on the server, tied with m0NESY, but still the top rating on the server, has the better swing. We'll use that as the tiebreaker to decide he's officially the better player. But a crazy way to debut for the young IGL. This game blew my mind in the way that it was genuinely a bit unpredictable. Like, Falcons bring that firepower, bring that flair, bring that name brand value, but also what the hell to expect from 100 Thieves with Gizmy. Like, what on earth do we expect from this match? Then we get the game. It's 3 maps. It's kind of a thriller. 100 Thieves, no one even frags, but they still win it out. Quack, how much do you take away from this? Specifically just 100 Thieves. Like, how much does this matter?
I think it matters. I think they've leveled up a notch. I don't think they had a single win anywhere near this in the spring season. That's already improvement. Their main issue still shows, which is consistency. And that doesn't have to do with the fact that they then lost the Spirit, because that was also a banging game. But they also played in the Starladder Star Series qualifier, where they lost to NIP and they lost to Nuclear Tigres to go out winless. So I think consistency was their big issue in the spring season, where they'd have really great games, they'd look really good, they even won their first trophy, and just a couple of weeks later they're taking very costly online losses that really actually sends them down the ranking. Like, in a different world, 100 Thieves might not have been like one of these like underdog wildcard teams that have to play Falcons and Spirit. If they just didn't take some of those honestly kind of embarrassing online losses that they had towards the end there, like after they won their parking event, just a month or two after that. If they didn't have those, they probably would be a middle of the pack team here at Bounty, and they'd be able to have some more favorable games. We might have seen 100 Thieves beating Astralis or the Mongolz or something like that instead. And that lack of consistency, I think, is still there. But that's the kind of thing that is going to get ironed out in time. That's not something Gizmi's going to come in and fix overnight. So I'm hopeful. But I think it matters. It matters because it's moved the needle a little bit.
Okay.
Moved up a step on the stairs. See, most people usually go ladder.
No, we don't get
but we do it differently on this show.
Speaking of, I now live in a flat with a staircase, like it's a 2-story flat. Fuck me. It's painful. Yeah. It's brutal.
Oh yeah, dude. This weekend I was on a 12-kilometer hike, and that was nice. The worst part of that hike was getting up the stairs when I got home.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've done the work. You've gotten all your furniture and all your clothing and everything into the flat. And then, which is already up a flight of stairs. And all that stuff I had to get down 3 flights of stairs just to get it out of my old flat. And now I get in and I'm like, oh crap, 1 set of stairs to go.
Yeah.
Then you want to do anything else in your life? More stairs. Like, it is a pain. But anyway, back on point. Does this matter? And obviously, beating Falcons is one thing. Like, even if Falcons haven't practiced since they last played, like, which would have been the final of the major, even if they haven't even practiced then, you still don't expect to beat them. Like, it's no given that you beat them. Then they go and play that Spirit game, where it looks like, oh, they've made it juicy again. A close Anubis and a smashing Mirage win. Finally, Dust 2, and you're like, oh, fuck. You forgot. It's Dust 2. And they get utterly clobbered. They just get demolished by Donk, who is, for the series of 161, like, Donk clearly has been playing Deathmatch over the holidays. I don't know if that man will ever have a social life, but currently he clearly doesn't. Like, that man pracked. That man trained. He came into this fully fit. Yeah. He could have run a marathon in Counter-Strike terms. So, yeah, he utterly dog walks them. The problem is, they also did play in the Star Series qualifier. They lost to NIP. They lost to Nuclear Tigres. And that's where the real talk of inconsistency coming. Because it's not really a jarring sort of inconsistency, them beating Falcons, losing to Spirit. Like, those are both close-ish series. They're both 2-1. They're kind of expected to lose both of them. The fact they even get one win is just impressive. And the other one, they take a map, so it's still good. But I kind of have to agree with you. It does kind of matter. It does kind of matter. Like, the way you start, especially when you face the big dogs, the big opponents, the ones that have been looming large in your mind. Like, sure, the Starladder honestly is probably a more important event to smash it at. Like, if they could have got through to the Starladder main event, like, that would have been really big for them. But these are the opponents that you think about subconsciously. You don't want to, but you're going to be thinking about it. You're not trying to look past NIP and Nuclear Tigres. You want to win those games. But there's a small part of you that always will have your sort of attention fixated on m0NESY and Kioske are coming around the bend. Oh, if we beat them, who do we get to play next? Sweet, guys, we've got Spirit. Donk. It's a nightmare. So yeah, they got one of those big wins. I'll give them some credit. The Gizmi era, not Gizmo Eerie, starts fairly well overall, I'd say. So yeah, does kind of matter. It's not the most important one of these at all, though. Speaking of Spirit, Abosh. It's Spirit time. Spirit, one of the few true favourites to actually make it out, because, you know, the top 8 make it through the LAN finals. 1, 2, 3. I think 3 of the top 8. No, maybe 2 of the top 8 coming into the event actually make it out. Spirit. MOUZ.
I remember who was on.
Those are the 2 teams of the 8 highest rated per HLTV ranking teams who make it through. So only 2 of the top 8 actually make it into the top 8. Spirit being one of them. Are you excited for this coming season from them? Because the way they ended things, well, the way they played last season was a bit all over the shop at times. You know, they win Stana. They make top 4 at the major. Like, what do we take away first from the end of last season, but also just this season coming forward?
I think they stepped up a lot at the end of last season. I think they showed good stuff with Jab Jabich. I think, but I think something clicked like mid-season where suddenly they looked very good, or at least much better than they were before. They stopped the downfall. They stopped the descent, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. Stopping or turning it around. So well done. Yeah, like by my count, they are so everybody in the 8 best ranked teams in the event, not top 8 in the world necessarily.
Yeah.
Only 3 of them. Actually, I can go even further. Yeah, in the top 12. The 12 highest ranked teams in the event, which is Vitality to Magic. Only Spirit, MOUZ, and Mongolz made it through. Oh, no, and Astralis, so 4. So 4 out of 12, and Spirit are one of them. So, yeah, big performance. They obviously get a little bit of an easy draw. The games are extremely close, like even with the 13-0 at the end. The Thieves probably could have won it 2-0. Like, that first map. It could have been a 2-0 win, and relatively comfortable at that if you look at how Inferno was like. OG, 1 overtime round away from knocking Spirit out. It's not comfortable. So I'll say it matters. It tells us a lot about Spirit. Because they get the wins done. Like, they get it done, which Falcons couldn't do, Vitality couldn't do, Furia couldn't do, Aurora couldn't do. And that's great. But it's uncomfortable. It's not the way you want it to go. So it says a lot about Spirit, I think.
Okay, because we're talking about Spirit overall, for me this doesn't matter too much. Because there's one thing that separates Spirit's performance from like those other teams you mentioned, like the Vitalities, like the Furias of the world. Their guy showed up. Like, their guy showed up. Donk showed up and put belt to us. So even though the team were also looking a bit shaky, as you said, we're an overtime away from losing to OG. We're a 13-11 on Anubis. That's how much they won that opening map on. Map by against 100 Thieves. Like, that, as you said, it's only, I mean, sure, we're asking it to rewind time and change things, but like, if that game goes a little differently, if he's a little less on it, they're losing to 100 Thieves. These are significant sort of losses, and all of a sudden we're talking about how we basically dismissing the online stuff entirely. I think a lot of people would just be like, we're done with this event. Like, people would just immediately be done with it because they are just another set of upsets. They're another upset, and we just kind of brush under the rug. Instead, they get the wins just because of Donk. Just because of Donk. And I think, like, that's cool, but that doesn't alleviate any of my concerns for Spirit. Like, they still don't look like they're championship caliber. Like, they're going to go win a bunch of events. Like, they should be aiming to be. Because they have Donk. They clearly believe they have Shiro. Like, as a true, like, star AWPer, one of the best in the world. Like I've said before, like, he has his problems in playoffs. Like, he does struggle. And to be the best team in the world, that's an issue. But they do have, honestly, the best player we've ever witnessed in all of CS history. And they cannot string together 2 event wins. And this event kind of proved that hasn't changed over the offseason. Like, the fact that they changed no players, took an offseason off, and come into this and still look like Spirit. Just, my take at the end of last year was kind of they need to swap out Zontix for someone else. Like, there needs to be a change here. Maybe even Shiro needs to be just blamed. He needs some pressure applied to him. I don't know, but something has to shift up, and that's not new. So for me, doesn't matter. They were a slightly inferior Donk away from losing all those games.
Yeah, probably. The thing is, like, if Spirit aren't good this season, then who is going to be, to be honest? That's how Blast Bounty has gone so far, and it might be an overreaction based on a single game. Yeah, that's the thing. But the results so far do say that. I think we're in for a good season. If Spirit can really kick off and Vitality take that slight step down compared to being unbeatable in the spring season, we're in for a really good season with Falcons probably being the best team on paper, but very inconsistently. So how I expect their season to go. I think Vitality will keep being super good, and if Spirit can get into that mix and try to improve their consistency or their firepower, because they're supposed to be, I would say they're supposed to be better at both, then we're in for a super, super, super good season. So exciting.
Okay. All right, the next team, we're going to probably get through the next 2 or 3 pretty quickly. Sinners go out in last place, joint last place, I should say. Though in spirit, I do think they're just truly last place for me. They took a map off of Foot, but I still don't care. Like, I'm just kind of done with Sinners. Since qualifying for the major, they have done nothing to make me believe in them as a team. They have consistently disappointed. They've looked like a roster that's just underpowered for the level of CS they're trying to compete at. And just a bit over it with Sinners. So for me, this result kind of kind of matters, I guess, because it's a loss. And I'm just saying, yeah, this is the end. This is Sinners done for me. Like, they have to go back to tier 2. They're just not a tier 1.5, competitive, plucky team. This is just not their realm.
I wonder if there's what the climate inside Sinners is like right now, because you get a great upset run with everybody batting for you to make it into the major. Like, a lot of hype around Sinners finally making the major after so long grinding away in tier 2. And you then immediately find out that the sticker money is going to be pretty shit. The sticker money then turns out to be pretty shit. The Sinners people were one of some of the most vocal people in that HLTV deep dive about the sticker money. And it probably affects the team quite a bit. And then also it is the thing where, like, I remember a couple of shows ago, I said, I think it was on here, I said, that, like, I'm surprised Sinners have been able to keep their players. Just in my head, I was just like, they're easily the smallest org at the major aside from Thunder Down Under, I would say. And when they qualified, I was expecting that, like, maybe Kisarek is going to have a bit of a standout and he's going to get signed or something like that. Then obviously I actually thought about it and I was like, nah, they went up in fucking last place? Like, who's going to sign these players? So I wonder if maybe there's, like, if they're feeling, why the fuck did we even make the major? And, like, how does that change the internals of the team? Because I wonder if there's, like, a feeling inside the team that they're equally out on themselves, like down on themselves as we are on them. This is a nothing. Yeah. Like, Sinners weren't supposed to be here, they shouldn't be.
We didn't belong. Like, if that's your internal, like, thought process, like, oh god.
A lot of stuff has gone against them in that sense, because they didn't even get, like, when they qualified, it was obviously the fairy tale. We're the millions we're gonna have, we can reinvest. Our entire time in esports has been worth it because of this, and then you get fuck all, and then now you're back to playing CCT basically, because you didn't do anything in XSE Pro League, you didn't do anything at Blast Bounty. Your next event is a CCT Europe series with a playoff invite. Nothing has changed. It's got to be a little bit demoralizing if you are, let's say, Kisarek or Stressarn or Modo. You're relatively young players. You're, like, in your early 20s. And you make your first major in, like, a fairy tale qualification run. And nobody inquires about your contract status. Like, that's got to be quite demoralizing as a player. And that sounds harsh for me to say, but presumably they didn't exactly have, like, big offers coming their way. So maybe a reality check for them. I don't know. I'm just feeling that they're maybe slightly checked out themselves. So
it doesn't matter or matters?
Doesn't matter. They were already checked out before the game. Yeah.
Damn, okay. Sinners, the bottom of the barrel, essentially, mentally. Nothing really
unfortunately
left.
While being the top of tier 2.
Yeah, well, they're 53rd in VRS right now, so they're not even that anymore. They're just tier 2, back to tier 2, where I thought it'd be Sharks. It's not really Sharks. They're now called Denlele. Or something like that. Dendele, there you go. They got an upset win over Furia. Upset, it's a domestic matchup. We always give that a hand wave, but still. An upset. And then went into the proper decider game, played FaZe, lost to FaZe, and go home. A big win, but also then just a loss to FaZe, which I guess FaZe looked up for it in a way that Furia seemingly weren't. For me, I'm just going to throw this out here. You beat Furia online, the most meaningless thing you can do. Like, there is more meaning to scrolling Instagram reels for 30 minutes than there is to beating Furia online. Like, Furia do not give a fuck. Keserato has never found an online game like he could actually care about. I don't think that's ever happened. He and Yuri are the kings of fucking losing online. So, good job. You won the freebie. You then played FaZe and lost. I think for Sharks, like, you're still an interesting team with a couple players people are keeping an eye on. But you've not proven anything more than that by beating Furia for me.
I'm going to put it in matters for the only reason being that despite having qualified for the major, this is easily the biggest win anybody on this team has ever had, pretty much. Even if they don't care, this is the biggest team they've ever beaten. So if I like, you can move me slightly closer to don't matter because doesn't matter because it's like it's a bit of a fucking nothing, but it's still something. I think it for Sharks for Den. Was it Dendele? Dendele. I hate that, to be honest, but it's for them it's probably gonna matter quite a bit. So it slightly legitimizes them. They're not just a South American 16th invites to the major or however many spots they had. They are slightly good. They won a map against FaZe as well. There was a chance of winning that game.
Okay. For me, that's not really how I would characterize my assessment. Like, oh, you could almost win a team because you took a map. That's Pain. Speaking of Brazilians, we've got them back to back. Pain. They do make it through to the LAN portion, and they do it off the back of a win against GentleMates, which is just a solid win. And then they go and face NIP in the round of 16, which I'm sure they must have been delighted about because it's NIP. Once the game gets a bit important. And NIP, I'm just every time, man. They get me every time. It starts to look good. They start to flow. They start to play that great CS. And then this game matters a bit more. Come crashing back down. So I think for Pain this matters because they've done very little to prove people wrong about the Furia VSM signings and everything like that, and the hype's kind of died around them. So it's important that they made this playoff appearance, but man, I mean, I couldn't help but throw shade at NIP on the way through, goddamn. To fixate on Pain a bit more, yes, this for them is huge, this for them is important. As I said, it's about the narratives, it's about where they've been as a team recently. It's been a bit of a struggle, and it especially helps them, like, Furia top rating of one series, VSM the top rating of the next. The fact they brought in Safe, and Safe is also very good against an IP. They're going to be very happy. That's going to move the media circus on in a different direction. And come what may at the LAN.
I think, unfortunately, Pain are actually going to have quite a favorable seed. I think at some point I looked at the order that they were going to be picking, and Pain were like the first pick, which makes me mad. Like, they're going to have the choice. They have a decent chance of actually winning the next game as well and making the semifinal.
Pain get to pick first, so they can pick 3D Max.
No, they can only pick from the uppers.
Oh right, yes.
So they can. Yeah, they can only pick from.
Forgot how this works.
Who would it be? It would be Spirit, Mongolz, MOUZ.
FaZe.
I think Spirit, MOUZ, Mongolz, Astralis, I think, are the top 4.
Astralis, yeah. Astralis would have... Yeah, so they get to pick Astralis.
Yeah, or Mongolz. Maybe they feel Mongolz is more comfortable. Maybe they feel that, pick Quack and Dark Mice are very...
Mongolz in a minute, but for me...
Yeah, but maybe they feel the beat
pick to play right now.
I'm gonna see what I saw, because I'm pretty sure I saw... Pain... I'm pretty sure Pain have the choice... Yeah, Pain are the 5th seed, so they have first pick. So they have the choice between Mongolz and Astralis, or MOUZ. I don't want to pick Spirit. And then it's FaZe, then it's 3D Max, and then it's Liquid. So Liquid are probably playing Spirit. Flashy said as much as well. He knows that. He did a tweet today. Yeah. I guess for Sharks, I did make the argument that it matters for them, and it probably does matter quite a bit for Pain as well. Who the fuck did they play? Like, get the fuck out of here. It doesn't matter. Pain. When Pain used to have real wins. Pain used to look pretty good against real teams, but they played GentleMates with Crucial, and they played NIP, But albeit I like Note, I rate him, but he's still an academy player. He's there temporarily. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Doesn't matter. I don't know. I feel like for them this is going to matter a lot, and that's kind of what matters. Because their confidence needs to be brought back to life, right? They're a confidence team, like all teams. Confidence matters. But yeah, okay. That's pain settled. Now, onto a team we don't talk about very often at all. For good reason, because they're just not playing relevant events. OG, we talked about them a bunch when they were making their roster, right? Remember, it was like, oh, they're bringing in Cadian. And oh my god, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And now we finally talk about them again. Just to mention that they got beaten by Spirit, and we need to save Adam B, because everyone else in this team, maybe send them to the Counter-Strike gulags, because that was an embarrassment. They had every chance of winning it, you said. They went to overtime on the final map against this Spirit side, but no one really showed up alongside the truly great Adam B. So, Quack, OG's result, does it matter?
Yes. Adam B got a lot of eyes on him, a lot of talk about Adam B, which was great. I have been fearing that Spook and Adam B get forgotten on this team, so that's very nice. Very good game from them. Probably the best game OG have played in months. Even if I'm scrolling through their results now, it's like, even the games they've actually won, there is obviously nobody even close to Spirit. And like, I mean, probably the best win since they beat... I wouldn't even say that. It's probably the best win since they played that Roman Imperium Cup in the middle of March and like beat BC Game in a best of 1 and beat Liquid in a best of 3. That's probably it, to be honest. So yeah, good on them. I'll just say it matters. I think it should. I'm not sure if it changes them for the positive. I think OG have. It's weird. Adam B would have every reason to want to get out of that team, and I think Spook would have as well. I think, but I also don't know like internally how it works out. But like Adam B especially is better than this. Adam B. Look, if Brawland wasn't there, then he could have been the heroic signing of the summer, to be honest. But like, it's it matters. It matters.
Okay, me, doesn't matter. I knew all this. I knew most of this already. OG are not a particularly well constructed lineup. There's not much to bring to bear. Like it's like my best case scenario for this team is Spook and Adam B are a very good rifle duo, and Cadian can maybe set something up. Maybe. Like that's a maybe. It's a big maybe. What did we see? Only one of those two guys showed up. So what? Body and Prime Taps are actually just terrible. I mean, Prime Taps kind of knew that. But Body, coming off his 3D Max stint, he showed he could play against decent teams. Just played terrible. Good. Just was terrible.
Looked pretty good early on in OG as well, yeah.
Yeah, when they were playing nobody. So, yeah, OG, this doesn't matter. You were a shit roster before. You're still a shit roster now. Goodbye.
I honestly think this game might be the catalyst for Adam B moving on, and then this game would matter quite a lot.
I guess.
Yep.
NIP. Has anything changed? Quack, save me. I get excited about this team. They lose an important match. I cry. They then play a game. They look pretty good. I get excited. They play an important match. They lose. Oh. Save me. How does this NIP team escape this loop?
Scrutinize their leadership, I think. To be honest, I don't know if it's snappy. I don't know if it's exist. Something's wrong there. To be honest,
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
They picked Nuke into Pain and got 1T round. Like how? At this point,
I'm not gonna say. I don't know if this matters or doesn't matter, but it depends on your angle. It matters because it's yet more stuff on the heap. It doesn't matter because it's yet more stuff on the heap. Shit pile. That's what I'll say. That this game is. It's another folder sliding across their desk. But like I can't fault Note. Yeah, you can't point the finger at the 5th guy because he played great in that final loss. You can't point the finger at Stown Because maybe in that one game, but like overall, he's playing very, very, very well. Casper Sky, look, the potential is obviously there, but he's a younger guy. He's slightly inexperienced. You kind of have to get it out of him. I think you need to develop him a little bit, even if he's been on NIP for a good while now. And then you have Shush,
he was on ENTs from October 2024.
Yeah, but they were shit then.
No, but that was their last relevance when they were playing real teams. He was a part of it. They played like some very high level sort of games, and he was.
My point being, you have the talent here. Everybody here has performed or is performing, and I don't know if it's Snappy. I don't know if it's Exist. I don't know if it's both. I think one of them has to change, and I think only the inside people at NIP know which one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't guess overly disagree with that. It's tough when I look at a 2-0 loss, and I'm just like, Snappy's my second highest rated player. Like, Snappy is the second highest rated player on this team in that best of 3 loss. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's the sort of thing where, like, Casper Sky, he has the talent. He's made it really fucking difficult to see that if you've watched NIP over the last 2 months. Maybe 3 months. Like, he's made that very difficult to observe. So, yeah, I agree. Snappy, I've said this to some people just, like, off air. I've been a bit like, it's not that I don't think he hasn't got what it takes. It's just maybe that the MR12 game is too fast-paced for how he wants to play. Like you don't have enough time and a half to play the way he wants to play, or something like that is going on. Because I do feel like there are too many. It's not that he doesn't have great games and he calls a fantastic T-side. So he also has games like that Nuke game too often. That Nuke game against Pain, where it's just nothing works. Like, it just goes horribly. And I don't know if it's maybe he doesn't have the second caller he needs on the team to help him, to bring something else out. Maybe Exist doesn't do enough as a coach to give those fresh ideas, to see what he's missed for them to be losing that many T rounds in a row. Like, something's going wrong. So for me, this loss matters. Because at some point, if you're NIP, you have to win something, man. Like, you have to make it through something. You can't give me like 3 good games out of 5 every time. You know what I mean? Like, Stake Ranked Episode 2, they won. Roman Imperium Cup 6, they won. Res Showdown 3, they won. But, like, I need something more. I just need something more. I need some consistency, especially in the qualifier and online event realm. I need you to not, fall short of playoffs in XSE. I need something more from NIP at this point.
Matters. Put me in matters. I was going to be Schrodinger's. It doesn't matter. But the fact is, I obviously care about this game quite a bit. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, this should be a quick one. Mostly because we're taking a sweet fucking time with this. The sun is setting as we do this. Nemiga. I didn't even realize they were at this event, honestly. I entirely missed that they played at this event. They played against G2. They took Anubis off them, but lost 2-1 in the end. Big game from Matouche and Nerds. Got anything to say for this Nemiga iteration? It's their first appearance with Robo instead of Lear, I believe. With Robo instead of Lear. I think that is the first game they've played with him as their new IGL. Does this reflect poorly? Well on him? Does it really matter to you?
No, it doesn't matter. You can give it... They play G2 with Wrinkle, and Wrinkle is a 0.85, and you still lose.
Yeah, but again, Matouche is a 135. There's like 3 guys who are over a 125 on the rifles or something like that. Like, it's kind of... Who cares what Wrinkle does at that point?
Yeah. It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. I don't think they were ever gonna win. It's sad that we didn't get a better Sypho, because he's been on fire. It's a little bit sad that we don't get better stuff out of him. Was it you who talked about this the other week, saying something like Sypho is playing way out of his roles, and that unfortunately doesn't work when you get up to a higher level? It might not have been you, but I seem to remember somebody saying something along the lines of, in tier 2 you often get
beyond his roles, like in terms of quality of output.
Yeah, but like you get players like that in tier 2, but when they play the same role in tier 1, you can't really do that because you get found out quite a bit more often. So
I didn't say that, but it's not a terrible take.
Maybe it was somebody else, but I did just feel like, I think it was in context of Sypho, which is why I thought about you, because I don't know anybody else who talks about fucking Sypho. Probably somebody in Russia.
Sypho was, I mean, he's been always one of the more exciting sort of anchor lurkers, right? And he has been for a while. And maybe there is some validity to say that maybe he can't handle it at the high level, but we've seen one game of him playing against G2. And it didn't go well. I'll give you that if you're expecting this to fail. This being Cypher. But still, I wouldn't say we have the sample to entirely judge and eviscerate this freshly turned 18-year-old player. So for me, I'm actually, it doesn't matter. This doesn't change a whole lot for me. This is a fresh IGL team. Just made changes. So yeah, Nemiga, not really that important. So much so I'd almost forgotten they'd played this. MOUZ.
Doesn't matter.
MOUZ make it to playoffs with their new monstrosity of a roster. Quack, how much do we rate this new look MOUZ side? Does this matter, this result, firstly, for them?
They played Nuclear Tigris and Focus. I think even if they were pugging it out, they should have won that on talent alone. For me, if my concerns about MOUZ are problems that I think arise after a couple of events, not on debut, so I'll say this doesn't matter so far. I still have my concerns. Nothing has really changed.
Yeah. Hold on, sorry, I was just looking for a button.
No problem.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, for me, this actually matters. To, on debut, not drop a map to the typical bogey sort of teams that you'd expect to drop a map to in this sort of event, I think does actually matter. So I think it's very important that they didn't drop a map. It's very important that, for example, Torji absolutely spanked these people. I'm quite happy for MOUZ. If I'm a MOUZ fan, if I'm a MOUZ member of staff, this needed to be a solid performance, and it was. So that's great. That's great. I'm yet to believe in it fully, but I think it matters that they got this started. I still think they've overcooked as far as who they've included in this roster, and I feel like it's gonna look a bit ugly.
Yeah, I can see that. I just don't really think it changes anything for what I think about MOUZ.
Yeah. All right. A team this I'd be surprised. This is going to be one of the biggest conversations we have, I think, in terms of how important this is. The Mongolz. Has he fucking done it again? Has this twat, this actual fucking piece of shit, gone and found another bunch of random children to make into legit top 20 players? Because fuck me, what am I watching? I'd never heard of Darkmeister. He looked pretty fucking good. Tikwak looked like he was playing online in fucking Mongolia. What am I seeing here? Are the Mongols back?
I'm not sure he's done it again, but this matters. To be honest, it's a first hurdle. There was every chance that Tikwak and Darkmeister wouldn't even clear the bar against teams like Heroic and Wildcard, and they managed to do it. So it matters. I'm not gonna sit here and say that Mongols are gonna be in Singapore playoffs because of it. So that's
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I still think there's every chance that both of those players work out and Mongols still regress overall, to be honest. Like I have said, it's the slow spiraling where ever so slowly their players are being swapped out for younger and more inexperienced Mongolian players as the talent pool not dries up. There's plenty of talent, but like, yeah, it's
well, it does. It's not the biggest talent. Like they love CS, but there's still like a million of the cunts. Like it's not exactly an endless pool. I do think they will run out of. Clearly, we've seen half them cycling in and out. Like we've seen half the scene play for Mongols over the last 5-6 years, maybe more. So
yeah,
no, that is a concern. It's a valid concern. But when I watch some of these kids play, not specifically before this event, because I'd only watched like a couple Tikwak demos where I saw he was crazy sharp. He had everything that Cobra Zero had. You know, like just visually in terms of raw mechanics, there wasn't anything to tell you that Tikwak was better or worse than Cobra Zero. And in terms of how it translated to playing under the Mongols at the official banner with Blitz and Mara, that there was very little to understand. So maybe the freshness of it, because Cobra was a far more experienced player. He'd played a lot more, probably had more of his own ideas, might have been an effect. And this might be part of the reason why Tikwak and Darkmeister have really been able to shine so far. Then again, they played Heroic. They played, the second game was, Wildcard, thank you. Like I don't know why I couldn't pull the name. Maybe that doesn't shift it too much, but I'm with you. This matters. Like this I'm slightly over the matters line. I'm maybe the way I started this off is a bit like it's the hyperbole that everyone has, that this is the Mongolz. Like, oh my god, Mara's done it again. What a fucking genius. He's seen what no one else can see. He is the scout of Mongolia. He is the nonce of all nonces. He knows the children far too well. Maybe he just scouts very well. Who knows? But it is somewhat important. The Mongolz actually look like they found a couple guys who fit the culture and have the aim to make it work.
Yeah. I'll also just note that he was obviously on Mongolz Academy. Both of them were.
Yes, as well.
He is not just like Mara has done his homework in the off season. Mara and everybody on Mongolz definitely knows more about these players than any one of us do. Obviously, there's just more stuff that is.
The Mongolz Academy coach, his nickname is Rifle.
I know, it's very funny.
No wonder they can't find an orb. And his real name is Ulaanbaatar. So it's one letter off of Ulaanbaatar. Is this man real? Is this a real person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anyone seen this man in real life?
Probably Mara. That's the thing. Like, Darkmeister's been playing under Rifle for half a year. There's demos. There's practice. There's definitely a whole bunch of notes from Rifle and his whoever was in game leading this team on like how good of a player he is. They're gonna know about it. They're definitely gonna know more than we do, and that's just how it is. That's the thing. We as much as this seems like a crazy surprise, it's not to them. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still crazy to us. And I think they would have had all the same amount of prep and notes for basically everyone they've ever signed. Like, they didn't go into it blind with Cobra, and that's why I think it's just a case of there's not actually that big of a difference as far as what they knew. It's just this one seems to have worked way better. And fucking damn it, they've done it again. They've done it again. Right. After the Mongolz, we of course continue with the M's. And we get to a different kind of wizardry. Because what Mara's done is clearly wizardry. We get to Magic. A team who have been fairly exciting. Have had a decent run in the scene recently to make themselves more relevant. This event, though, they arrive, they play 3D Max, and they go home. They're already at home, obviously, because it's an online game, but whatever, you understand what I mean. So Magic, this loss, this immediate final place finish, does it matter?
No, I wouldn't say so. And part of why I say that is because they did go through the Star Series qualifier. They're still in it. They're still in it. They were still going to be in a couple of events. They're not out of it. If this was the only thing they were playing, then yeah. But I think they've done a tidy job over there. And it's probably still going to be a pretty good season for them with that in mind. So I'm still hopeful for them. But like, when you play two parallel close qualifiers, I'm not going to say bounties. Again, obviously, the more important one, every team probably cares slightly more about that than the Star Series thing. Magic are going to have a better chance in Star Series, I think, than they would in the Blast Bounty. Well, no, now that I think about it, fucking Vitality are there, and I think Spirit are there, and I think Navi are there, and only Spirit out of those and MOUZ are there in Blast Bounty as well. So maybe Blast Bounty actually would have been the better chance for Magic if they had gone through. But anyway, point being, it's not that important.
Not that important. Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It's one of those things where the other qualifier also meddles with these results, and then also this is it's a 3D Max pop off from Kersey on debut. Like, what were you supposed to do? What were you supposed to expect from that exact version of the team? Is hard to decide how they're going to look. Magic, this is about right. M80, another team that, we don't have that great of an expectation for. The excitement's kind of dead for them as well. Like they've they've been exciting at various points, but now kind of flopping, and they lose 2-0 to NIP, who we were somewhat critical of. But again, NIP, we've said it numerous times, the game gets important. They seem to just be unable to close. They don't deliver their best. This game technically is an elimination match, but it does feel less important for them. There's no reward to winning it, in a sense. I think for me, M80, this is just further proofs that they are slipping. Like the hype that there once was has faded for good reason. It's not just that people weren't paying attention. It's just that they've taken many steps back. Yeah, I don't think the Jaber move has worked out at all. And for me, that kind of matters. I'm going to put myself right over the line. Just over the line. It just kind of matters. All of this kind of matters.
Yeah. It doesn't to me. This is yet another M80 loss in the pile of M80 losses that make me wonder what is going on with this roster. I think maybe it's just the hype has died for a good reason, and they're not bad. They're not like, that's the thing about M80 is that they'll still have a couple of wins here and there that make me slightly believe in the potential of at least a couple of players on this team. And then they'll obviously go home and farm a bunch of frag events occasionally. That's about it. Is the thing. That's about where it ends. It doesn't change much for me. M80 are still where I consider them to be before this event.
Okay, so nothing big.
I don't have any notes here, to be honest.
Okay. No, I think it's just they're reaping the rewards for their own decisions, and it's a bit harsh, I guess, to say exactly like that, but it is true. I think it is just true. This is what they bargained for, and they took a risk, right? They took a gamble that Jaber would deliver in a way that Hex wasn't quite. It turns out Hex was probably the better player in the long run.
Yeah.
But all right. Speaking of gambles, not every team hits the ground running after roster moves, right? Not everyone does. But guess what? Your time with Shuhei doesn't count. Liquid win both their games and make playoffs. Everyone's always talking about your time on Liquid, your time on whatever team. They always forget. When you've been there 2 years, a billion other players have come through. Everything's been changed up. Everything's been reset over and over again. Maybe you were also a part of the problem. Maybe you didn't start as part of the problem, but maybe you became a part of the problem. But Liquid, bring in JT. Bring in Jorko for Ultimate, which, even if Jorko was half the player we hoped he'd be, probably would still be at worst a side grade. And then they've played this event with this new sort of energy, revitalizing them. Elige drops a huge series to eliminate G2. Jorko plays surprisingly well, and people are posting that relatively pedestrian-looking Anubis 4K everywhere on my fucking Twitter feed. Everyone's excited for Liquid now. All of a sudden, they are a team to be impressed by, a team to actually watch. And for me, this is the entire point of this move. Like, this is about becoming a roster worth talking about again. Not just being the cemetery, the resting point of Elige. Despite having lived his entire life there, yeah, he would have lived in his own cemetery. His life would have begun and died in Liquid. Now it seems like there's still more life. This team isn't dead on arrival. JT, thank you. Jorko, nice little touch, but has proved what I said before. Naf, Elige, MOUZ, that rifle trio with a bit more spark, something revitalizing them, maybe a different set of calling ideas, maybe a different energy in the camp, would just work. Bang, straight out the gate. Love it.
Yeah. I like the vibes a lot more. I think the main difference for me is that I hear a lot of chatter about how Shui's work ethic is so and so. Shui is this and this as a caller. Shui is this and this in terms of whatever attitude. And I get a much better vibe out of JT just as a person. And also in terms of Ultimate, I think Jorko's like a hungry opper who has clear talent and comes in with a more positive attitude, I would imagine, than Ultimate, who kind of just slipped into Liquid on a bit of a banana peel after basically no career. So just as the signings go, JT and Jorko just give me better vibes. And I wonder if that's a difference maker, if the internals of the team are just that much better because of who JT and Jorko are as people and as players, more so than the hard performance, so to speak. So yeah, big win against Vitality. It obviously matters. I've already said it matters for Vitality, so it obviously matters for Liquid as well. A lot. And the G2 win, honestly, I did expect them to lose there, to be honest. I did even after beating Vitality, I did expect them to lose that G2 game because I just thought it was a little bit too early. But they get it done. We're going to see them on LAN.
Crushed G2. That's the crazy part. They crushed G2. And yet, I didn't even talk about the Vitality game, where again, Elige, top frags, plays fantastically. Jorko plays very well. We get good numbers out of MOUZ as well, alongside everything else. We're like, oh my god, every piece is firing. But then, yeah, also to go smack G2 around. Like, yeah, this is a confident team. This is wishy-washy to say this, but this is vibe-based, energy-based. This is just such a market improvement, like just overnight. Now, could they end up going to the LAN portion, lose immediately, then spend the rest of the season just coming like second last? Also possible. Also possible technically, but I'd be very surprised. I think this is going to be a team that climbs back to top 15 in the world. It depends on how things go with Jorko's actual level. Depends on how much JT can unlock from that rifle trio. But this rifle trio should have been in top 15 sort of range. The fact that they were outside of even the top 20 was insane. They should be back in that range comfortably, and then we can start getting overexcited. So, Quack, this win matters, does it not?
Matters.
Yeah, it matters a lot. We're going to be right on top of each other, right on the left of matters, because now this is a scale.
In fact, it might be better for them if they do... No, actually, no, it isn't. Flash actually had good maths about this. If they win their quarterfinal here in Blast Bounty, they're going to have to forfeit the first couple of games in Stake Pulse.
Yeah.
But it was very clever from them, because Blast Bounty finishes... Is it tripping? No, it finishes before the August ranking drops, and a lot of invites are based on the August ranking. The Stake Pulse thing finishes just after the August ranking drops, which means that it counts towards the September ranking only, which doesn't have any invites. So I was about to say they might be better off if they lose the first game, because then they can go farm some easy LAN wins against random teams in Stockholm. But the thing is, it's probably not even better because they want those invites. That was that was honestly pretty clever from them.
Yeah. But hey, that's a pretty big name, a pretty big bit of conversation, because that's a team that, you know, has a lot of rep, has a lot of history in CS, but it's been very disappointing recently. We're now getting into a side who don't have any of that, so this shouldn't take us very long. HOTU, another team playing the qualifier and the main event, as in they played a qualifier and this actual event at the same time. Neither one of them went particularly well. They did beat Gamer Legion 2-0 to make it through to the round of 16, which had promising signs. You know, MOUZ playing well. Their new signing Dwushka, who we didn't really know what to think of. You know, actually having a decent start. I mean, he's a lone player, but still. But then, yeah, they do play Astralis. They lose 2-1 in the end to a relatively sensational Yabby. Whilst themselves not getting that sort of output from their main guy, MOUZ, who's the big exciting piece on the roster. So yeah, HOTU, new signing Dwushka, didn't make the final LAN portion. Do you have any takeaways from this game, or is this kind of one that just happened?
Doesn't matter. HOTU are here. They stay afloat. It's funny that Frontalis beats Gamer Legion in another online game, like he used to do on Hesta.
Yeah, where's the tweet about this one? Where's the tweet? Because yeah, at the same time they played the close qualifier for Star Series Fall, and they beat Heroic, they beat Astralis, they beat Infinite, and then they lost 2-1 to Aurora. So they did have some success in this week in terms of the games they won, and they I assume took a massive VRS boost. So I'm going to say there's a little bit of mattering. This matters a little bit because the VRS they took away from the entire week, I think, is significant. Went up like 18 spots, so that's huge. But overall, yeah, not the end of the world, not earth-shattering. They haven't proved it to us like they're on an entirely different level than what we expected. But they, speaking of Stake Pulse, will be there. And their opening matchup is against currently one player. So that's going to be interesting. They're playing X-Clan, and listed lineup is Freddy and nobody else.
Free day. Yeah, free day. Free day is a
that's
UKCS.
1E, so Freddy.
No, it's free day. He's a UKCS guy. He's played a lot in a lot of epic lands and stuff.
I'm not bothered by how it's supposed to be said. I cannot see that as anything else but like a Forrest Gump attempt to say Freddy. Fred.
They do a. They do have a lineup. He's just the only guy who has a profile of his own. Fun little team, X-Clan, who have never really done anything. Yeah,
they haven't got HLTV profiles, so yeah.
They've never even done anything domestically. I'll just say, to be honest. But free day's cool. Like free day's nice, and he's been about.
I'm sorry.
UKCS epic land legend. Shout out to Mischief. Shout out all my Kettering homies.
Forrest Gump is just saying his name in my head. I'm sorry.
If you're watching in Kettering, throw a comment down below.
Fred, right, Heroic. God, Heroic's new lineup. They are... Everyone's talked a lot about them, right? We talked a lot about them. I was very excited. And then they play these online events. They lose to the Mongolz, which turns out isn't the greatest or gravest of sins. Whilst Brolan proceeds to shit the bed, to be blunt. And also failing to make it out of the Star Series Fall qualifier. With, again, not the greatest performances from some of the players you'd want to perform. Martinez this time, playing pretty poorly. Have Heroic actually got better? Was all of our excitement completely misplaced? Quack, tell me. Should we have been hyping this team up, or should we have been far more pessimistic? Because we usually are about everything.
I think it's a tough transition to go from in-game leader back to rifler, and I think that might be part of the reason why Brolan is struggling a bit individually. I think Martinez has worked out really well. I think what Martinez has done so far for Heroic is probably the best any opera for Heroic has done since Degster, which is wild to say. But Brolan has been a little bit here and there. And I think it'll take time to fix that. Would have been nice to get the win against Mongolz. That would have been a nice result. They got a couple of other wins in the Star Series. I keep saying Budapest in the Star Series qualifier. Notably, not one against NIP, which is a little bit of a rivalry game at this point, and would have been a nice win to have. But yeah, it's. I'm gonna say that this event in particular doesn't matter that much.
Okay.
We should have been hyping them up. I'm still hopeful for the season.
Okay, fair enough. No, I was just a bit. Yeah. I was a bit iffy on it because it felt like I was watching the same old Heroic in the end. Like, as far as how good those results were, like, and how they played, I was like, damn, this feels semi-familiar. As far as who I'm talking about, I thought Heroic had turned a new leaf in some way, but instead, yeah, just looked forgettable again and couldn't consistently generate the wins and the results needed. So yeah, that was kind of my concern. So I'm going to say it matters a little bit. I think you're going to say it matters a little bit. This is not the worst start, all things considered, but I think all of us could have hoped for a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, Gamer Legion. Quack, I'm going to let you lead on this. Just talk me through it. Gamer Legion. What are we even supposed to expect coming into this game?
Doesn't matter. I want to see better stuff out of Flammus. I want to see better stuff out of everybody involved, to be honest, but I'm not going to say that this is some devastating loss taken to HOTU. It's a relatively close game, even if it's a 2-0, and Flammus does play really great. But like, I think the true gains from that roster move and what we're going to see from them, we cannot judge on a single game. And I don't think it moves the needle that much on their, neither like logistically in terms of ranking or invites and such, nor in terms of where I have them as a 5-man lineup. So I'm just going to say that it doesn't matter. It's even when I saw this, I was of course surprised by the result, because HOTU I didn't consider to be that good, but I immediately thought that like this is not gonna stand.
Okay, so not that important.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm similar to you, but again, I'm feeling kind of iffy on a lot of these where I'm like, you're a team who plays a lot of online play, but you have got other things coming up, I guess. Like they are at the Esports World Cup. This is more prac than anything else for them. So for me, yeah, it is a bit rough to take that loss. But to see just Flammus banging heads and everything else kind of being disastrous, I don't know, maybe it bodes well that Flammus is just up for it. Like he's going to bring the heat, he's going to bring the firepower, and that's kind of what they needed for a while. So mixed feelings for sure for me. GentleMates, still the worst brand in all of Counter-Strike, in all of esports, obviously. Because what is that logo? What is that name? And I mean, the color scheme may be the only cool thing about it. But GentleMates, not a roster we take too seriously as far as like threat level quite often, you know? And here they proved why. They came into a game against Pain, who are in their winnable range, right? With a standing crucial, which is a factor. Means they did have to switch up their language. They lose 2-0. I'm going to be honest, given the situation with who's AWPing for them right now. Oh, I'm moving you around instead of me. That's accidental. I'm going to have them doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. Like, they're not expected to do much with a stand-in situation.
They are selling the team anyway. I'm still waiting. Why haven't they just benched the squad when their co-owner went out and said, we are looking to sell the team because we cannot sustain a roster in Counter-Strike anymore? Nothing. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Does not matter one bit. There's our takeaway for that one. We're still on the Gs. See, some of these have been kind of clumped in alphabetical order. G2. Got a lot of thoughts about this team. Mostly just about what the hell they're doing at the transfer deadline. I don't know what on earth they were thinking, and it's looked kind of terrible so far. As far as the first game they win, with Wrinkle playing an absolute disaster class, and then they lose 2-0 to Liquid, look terrible as a team, and Wrinkle's the only guy above a 1-0 flat. He's at 105. I am very quickly going to go, this slightly matters because you changed your AWPer, nothing else, despite me wanting you to change more. And you couldn't make the LAN portion where you're a team who should be in the range, right? Like this is a team who has every opportunity to make it through. You played Liquid. This is a bit of an oof. A bit of a goofy way to start your season. G2 still a move away, despite already making moves over the offseason. They didn't actually change anything. Any thoughts?
What were you setting me up for? I'm sorry.
G2.
Yeah? But then you said you sound like you started a sentence about their roster changes. I was waiting for a continuation.
No, that was it. They've made a roster move, yet they still look like they're a roster move away. That was the whole conclusion.
Okay. That sounded like you were about to start another sentence. I would say that this matters. I think for me, as much as I realize that Saw's intention with the move for Wrinkle is probably to get like a different kind of player from Senpai's. He wanted a less vocal kind of player. I at least I think so. This is something that Spray XD talked about when he was on the Overtime on Inferno last week. Where like fewer cooks in the kitchen. Senpai's is a very vocal player. Wrinkle is not. Maybe wanting to get a little more like more. We want fewer voices inside the team in that sense. I think the intention was that this was going to work out over time. At the same time, I would have believed slightly more in it if Wrinkle actually played a good debut. But he did not, man. He did not. I still have no faith in this roster move whatsoever. I don't know what Saw thinks he can fix in that player. I think Wrinkle... that's what I felt before.
Hello?
Hello? What?
Yeah, I looked at my phone. Remember, my phone is tethering my internet, and I think the USB connection got dodgy, and so everything's just going tits up.
Fucking hell. Did you not hear me?
No, I heard part of it, then you laughed. It kind of froze over and over again.
I'm still in the video thing.
Yeah.
Reconnect?
I've reconnected you, don't worry. You're on screen again. It's just my OBS was gone for 8 seconds, so the people missed what you were.
Oh, it happened again. I think it happened again.
Wrap up your take on G2.
Wrinkle will not just be a plague on G2 season. He will be gone before Singapore.
Okay, damn, gone before Singapore. That's bold. I mean,
I'm sure Saw has more faith in his players, but that's what I would want to happen.
Okay. I wouldn't go that far, but oh god, I think that means you think it matters a lot. So
yeah, I do.
Damn. Let's get into a team who are everyone's darlings, but somehow didn't make it through this one. But one of the great stories of the offseason, you know, despite already being fairly impressive, did decide to move on from LeonX. Didn't sell him to anyone, just moved on from him. Like, we expected them to be making changes to get picked apart, everyone to want a piece of them. Instead, they managed to keep the majority of their players and only make a change that they want to make, which is odd. Initially, out of the gate, crushing Sinners was xFloud, and it seemed like a genius move. Then xFloud played 3D Max and was considerably less impressive. And what we've seen as people who actually watch heroic matches kind of reared its head. When xFloud is on, he's insanely good. When he's not on, he's insanely shit. And as a FUT team, you're going to kind of feel that. That lost 3 Max kind of embodies it. So how much do you actually think that's going to reflect on? Like, how much do you think that's actually the case? Like, in the long run, watching FUT, is that going to be true? Or is that just us, or me rather, projecting what we've analysed before about xFloud onto a very small sample of what FUT have done?
I think FUT kind of ended up with a half measure of what they actually wanted to do over the offseason. If the rumors are true that, like, Oppers were talking to them, like Sunpius was talking to them, and Cemetery was talking to other teams and stuff, I think they would have liked to make 2 changes. They only ended up making the 1. I wonder if maybe that slightly reflects on their level as a team, where they maybe were preparing for something else. In time, I think xFloud is going to work out. I don't think this result matters all that much. It's the 2 online games, and xFloud is still for me on paper an upgrade over LeonX. Not great. I'm going to say it doesn't matter. It doesn't kill their season either.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sort of with you. For me, what defines their season isn't going to be this set of results. But I'm just a bit worried that, yeah, they have kind of left themselves in a weird spot when it comes to what needs to be done. Symmetry really isn't the player for them. Like, he's just not. So that's a bit of a concern. Like, he's not the solution for them. And yet he's still there. So, what now? If you're FUT, what now? I think they're going to regret not having made a move over the off season, and I think they're going to kind of regret the one they did make. Not sure they'll feel like they've gained a whole lot in the long run from having made that move. And that was kind of the whole point, right? You expected to change out LeonX and make it all happen, and I think this kind of matters. Kind of matters to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair. This is the longest segment we have ever done on a podcast.
It really is. It's super long. I didn't expect it to take so long. And
I honestly thought you were going to take like eight teams, but we're going down the list.
Yeah, I literally took almost every single one. We've got like 28 teams here. Furia. They went out in last place. It's an online game.
We've already kind of summarized it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, just slide me over.
It does not matter, guys. It does not matter. They do not care about online CS. That's just the reality of their situation. They never have, never will.
Nope.
It's just not part of their DNA. So, no, Furia, it does not matter. We didn't need to discuss or debate that one at all. It's just a fact. Up next, FaZe. Speaking of teams who would actually have some excitement brewing around them, FaZe managed to make it to the LAN portion. beating not exactly the most impressive teams in the world, Eyeballs and Dendele. But fuck, I'm just going to say it outright. Kind of matters. Like, I'm not saying it's insane, not saying it's like the best thing that's ever happened to any team in all of Counter-Strike history, but this kind of matters for a team who are fresh, with young players, who want to get some LAN reps. This is a pretty awesome result, so I have to give them credit. This matters. It's good to see them have some wins and build some more confidence. Guangzhou, you know, they did end up finishing third, fourth. They did lose in playoffs. Here again, bouncing up, getting themselves into playoffs. This is the sort of thing they want to see going forward. I know it's not the biggest event. This is the sort of thing they need to do.
I'm going to try to keep this short. FaZe went from taking very big losses at every single attempt to taking quite small wins at every single attempt. And that's nice. That's how you climb. That's how you recover. J-Bone is great. Fuck yeah. So, yeah, finalize the HOTU signing and try to figure out a way to sign J-Bone on a permanent deal. But, yeah, this matters. Despite the opposition, it matters. And they're on the way up.
Lads, you don't actually have to finalize HOTU. It's okay.
What do you want instead?
Give me Soulfly.
Chris J 2.0.
What? Oh yeah, fuck! I forgot about the Hitler.
You already have Joe Biden and Netanyahu, but now you want to replace him with. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's kind of awkward for the PR of it all.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if it's HOTU's fine enough, it just has to be somebody. You can't just have like they announced that he was on loan for 3 events, but now he's played 5, and you can't just keep going with that. You got to do something.
Yeah, you can. You can just keep pretending. Like, he's just our player, guys. He's just our player. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. He's actually ours. Right, and on to the final big upset of this show. As far as big name teams who were upset straight away, Falcons, after their long holiday and probably many hangovers, come into this event and go straight out. Nico, with a truly goated performance, come back off holiday. I mean, living up to his rep, right? Everyone said he's going to go off and party. He's not going to be ready for the season, not off the gate, not here, not out the gate. And he wasn't. 0.94, lowest rated player on the server, on his side of the server, because 100 Thieves ratings are all just terribly low. Munacy and Kioska do everything they can. Nico doesn't show up to bat. They drop it all. Quack. Did you take anything seriously when Falcons play an online game to start the season? Did you think this was ever going any other way?
Oh, no, they could have won. That's the thing. They could have won the game. It just doesn't, no, like, doesn't matter. It's, Falcons are exactly as slightly inconsistent as I expected them to be. And as I expect them
exactly
to continue
as
being.
Slightly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter. We need to wrap this segment up.
And
we are wrapping now. Yeah, so The Last Bounty, a lot of games that didn't really matter. Let's be honest. Didn't really matter. A lot of these, but some of them, they actually didn't. We managed to draw water from stone as far as their relevance and their importance to the game.
We are experts at that.
That's why when people talk about tier 2, you have to be experts at drawing water from stone. But let's get into the rest of the show. There is still an entire show to finish off after an hour and 48 minutes. We are still going. Quack, it is time for, you know it, you love it, the cock of the week. What have you got for us this time?
Today is very basic. There was a very valid cock that you can hear about in today's behind the scenes segment if you are a paying subscriber. We are talking about what this HLTV forum user has dubbed the best El Clasicos. So I'm just going to read this out from Atypical Plague. Wanted to ask what the best classic org versus org matchups are in Counter-Strike. And his examples are NIP versus Fnatic, now basically dead. Astralis versus Liquid, close to being dead. And Navi versus FaZe. And he will also shout out what he considers to be the El Clasico of CS2, Vitality versus Falcons. So, I'm just gonna read these out, and I want to see if you agree with them. And if you agree or disagree with them, because there might be some proper cocks in here. We're starting off with Vitality versus Argentina. Strongest in CS versus strongest in football.
I mean, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. There's nothing to answer about that.
Yep, right. NIP versus Amkel. Always bangs, according to Shark Boy Daniel.
You know what? Honestly, it's a type of Classico. As in, you sign up for it, you know what you're getting into. It's going to be epic. It's going to be a battle. People are going to talk about it. It's not a terrible take to call that a Classico, even if it is a joke.
Yep. Vitality versus Falcons. Falcons versus Spirit. Spirit versus Vitality. This is just the top 3 at the moment, I would say. Would you say it's a classic rivalry, any of these 3 games?
I feel like currently it is just... I think Vitality Falcons is the closest one to being like a classic matchup. But it feels like in the coming years, Falcons Spirit will be one. And depends on how Vitality look in the coming years. And if in the next 2 years they make like a change somewhere and maintain a sort of very competitive level with the core of stars they have, Spirit Vitality will become an incredible game as well. I think Spirit are just going to be a very like challenging team because they'll never be quite... Apparently, they'll never quite be complete and perfect enough to dominate everyone, but they'll always have a lot of fire to bring to a matchup because of Donk, and that'll always make it fun.
Yeah. Tyloo versus Linvision. Insane head-to-head history. Actually, maybe a sneak peek.
I guess, but I don't think it's that important.
Best we have at the moment. Somebody, Bouncy 2370. The best we have at the moment is Astralis Foot.
That's not a terrible take.
What, really? Astralis Foot?
It kind of is like a classic matchup. I mean, a Classico. It's not a top level Classico. You know what I mean? It's not Real Madrid Barca, but it's a classic game that you see a lot, right? I guess in that sense, it's a frequent rivalry. I guess it's not usually that great a game, but it can have some fun. Has anyone got the correct answer in here? No. Okay.
I mean, this is maybe distilling a little bit of your Falcons Vitality take before. Zaiwu and Apex team versus Nico and Munacy team.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
Yeah.
But you know, actually, for the last 3 years, basically has been a very consistently entertaining, typically at a high level game. It's been happening quite frequently as well. MOUZ Vitality.
Pretty good.
Underrated.
I'd be... Underrated. I would say, look, this person is obviously slightly baiting, considering they've said Spirit versus Na'Vi equals Russia versus Ukraine. But Spirit versus Na'Vi, it's been quite one-sided, but it's a good game. It's a good game when it happens.
Typically entertaining, very differing sort of ideas in terms of like the perfect structure versus the perfect single weapon.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it, but no, I do actually genuinely think MOUZ Vitality is a banger. It went back and forth for a while. You know, genuinely back and forth. Like Vitality won it in Cologne, 23. Then MOUZ beat them in the final of Pro League. Then Vitality win. Then MOUZ win in Rio. Then Vitality win again. Vitality win again. Vitality win for a few in a row. And there's a 3-2 at Blast Open Lisbon that you remember was a bit of a banger. Before we get the massive upset at Cologne. That was historic. And then the Chengdu win for MOUZ. Getting a group stage game not as important. Like there's been some back and forth. I do think that's a genuine like org v org, ignoring players sort of because they've had some changes, both of them throughout that time. Actually, is a very very thrilling sort of derby that has the sort of the meaning to be almost considered a Classico. But Classico's it's a huge thing to try and compare to. And just because of how well it's been branded by those 2 Spanish giant teams, everyone tries to throw it on everything. You know, I see people talk about the German Classico, and I'm like, no one's ever called it that, man. No one's ever called it that. You've just tried to brand it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cock of the Week is probably... I don't know who was supposed to be Cock of the Week. You just read through a forum post. But someone in there, I'm sure.
I think it's probably this person. Louis G. Imperial versus Bestia Academy.
Okay.
That's Cock of the Week.
That's Cock of the Week right there. That
maybe that's a generational banger in South America. I don't know about that, but yeah.
Oh, who knows? All right. Enough cock. Quack, you've had your fun. It's time for the Retake Games. Now, you've put something in the show notes that I don't really understand. You've put 3 words for everyone who's listening and doesn't have access to our private show notes. He's put Cotton Eye Joe.
Are you really not? What does Cotton Eye Joe remind you of, King T?
A very funny green text story, if anyone knows that one. And obviously a song that plays at every party when I was between the ages of 5 and 12. Yeah. Is this going to be related to the refrain? Am I going to have to figure out where a player went in their career? Where did they come from? Where did they go?
Where did they come from and where did they go, King T? That is the question for you today. I have picked out 5 players when they were at a specific team in their transfer history. You are to answer me, where were they before and where were they after? And I've made it quite tricky, so you can play along in the chat.
I do love, just for everyone's heads up, Quack said before we started going live, he was like, oh yeah, this game, I think it's great and I think it'd be a great game for me, but I think you're going to struggle. So just so you know, if I suck at this, it's because Quack's designed a game to test himself, forgetting that I don't obsessively watch the transfers. Or not caring rather than forgetting. So this is going to be awful.
So, just for clarity's sake, I've gone off of their Liquipedia team history because they actually source their transfers with like public announcements and stuff. I've ignored squads that are like X something. There's one instance where I've had to ignore that. So, like, if they went from the kind of way that the food team now went from Navi Junior to X Navi Junior, I'm not going to have a team like that. So, but yeah. Okay. But if it said on Liquipedia that they played for a team, then that's where they're going to be. And I don't include like active roster then benched. That's not. I don't separate between that. Are you ready?
Yes.
Cajun B was once at North. Where did he come from and where did he go?
I say Cajun, you say B. Cajun.
B.
Thank you. Classic clip from voice comms. So before he was on North, I'm pretty sure he was on Astralis. The question is, where on earth did he go after North? Like, who wanted Cajun B after North? I don't know why my head keeps saying something about Mad Lions, but there's no chance in hell he went to Mad Lions and became their 7th hybrid AWPer. So I'm going to say he went from Astralis to North to Heroic. Purely a guess.
From Astralis to North to Heroic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is 0 points for you, King T, on the first one. There were actually 2 correct answers. He's been on North twice. The first time he was on Dignitas, went to North, and then went to Optic. And the second time he was on Optic, and then went to North, then went to AGF.
Damn, so he went to North way later in his career than I expected. In my head, it was just like
I'm just gonna double check.
Thing.
Yeah, I'm just going to double check. But no, he was not there a third time. He went from Astralis to Dignitas to North. And that's honestly, he was there for half a year. I'd say that's significant. It's not just like he signed there for 2 weeks thing, as some players have.
Right.
We are going to be moving on to your second option. This one you might get. This is a player that you and I together have followed quite closely throughout his transfer history. When Boros was once at Into the Breach, where did he come from and where did he go?
Into the Breach?
Yeah.
When the fuck was he on Into the Breach? Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, I don't remember him being on Into the Breach, I can't lie. I'm going to guess that he went Into the Breach post Falcons. So I'm going to go Falcons, Into the Breach, GG How.
Falcons, Into the Breach, GG How is exactly correct. Congratulations. Why I specified that I went by the Liquipedia one is because according to HLTV, he was playing for, I think it was Al Ittihad, the football team in between there. But Liquipedia just do not list that. I don't think he was ever announced or signed or anything. Okay. So I went with the Liquipedia one. It's usually better sourced. Dupree was once on Preezy, Kingt. Where did he come from and where did he go?
Crap, he went somewhere after Preezy? Crap. So, Dupree... Oh, Lord. I think Dupree... It was obviously post-Vitality. Did he do something between Vitality? I don't think he did. I actually don't think he did. So I think it went Vitality, Dupreezy, then he played after that? Did he end up on... Oh, did he end up on... No. I was trying to think, did he play with Xiphon or something somewhere? Like maybe, I had some random like idea. Wait. No, not from Vitality. Wait. No, he didn't go from Vitality. He went to Falcons. So Falcons to Preezy. No. Was he on Preezy before Falcons? Oh, crap. I'm terrible at this. I'm genuinely stumped. I'm going to go... Screw it. I'll go with my second instinct, which is... some part of me tells me this is incredibly wrong. Let's go Vitality. No. Falcons, Preezy, I don't know.
Falcons Preezy, I don't know. It's unfortunately correct, but I'll give you... incorrect, but I'll give you half a point. He was on Heroic, then on Preezy, and then on Falcons.
Oh, it's Heroic he went to, where he played with... Did he play with Xiphon on Heroic?
Briefly, yeah. I think he was the guy who signed on like a 3-month loan, but then Xiphon came in for like one event as a stand-in. But Dupree actually had a deal. He was on the team at that time. Or maybe he was a free agent even and just signed like a... Yeah, I think he was a free agent and signed like a super short contract just to finish the season with them. But he was there. Hobbit was once on Hellraisers. Where did he come from and where did he go?
Hobbit was on Hellraisers. Lord. I'm going to guess Hobbit went Gambit, Hellraisers, Gambit Youngsters.
You're unfortunately correct. You're incorrect. You're almost correct. But before he went to Gambit Youngsters, he was on loan from Hellraisers to Windstrike.
Oh, fuck off.
But it was quite a long loan. He was there for about a year, I think. So he was on Gambit, and then he was on Hellraisers, and then he was on Windstrike. You get a point for being correct that he was on Gambit. Right. Finally, friend of the show. The avian variety. Bird from Sky was once on Copenhagen Flames. Oh, where did he come from and where did he go?
He was... So, what was the rebrand of Lyngby Vikings called again? Was that Ecstatic? Yeah, I think it was... Okay. Ecstatic. Copenhagen Flames. What the fuck is that team called? I've almost got it. It was with... Where Susp played. I'm going to look up where Susp was playing. I need this team name. I've got the logo pictured in my head. What was that team called? Susp. Suspicious Pete. I'm going to cheat a little bit. No, Susp wasn't there. Who was that? Oh, he was that. 00 Nation. There we go. I think that's it. Correct. Okay.
Ecstatic. Copenhagen Flames. 00 Nation. Well done. I honestly thought you would have forgotten about 00 Nation.
I've got an interview with him for members, if you want to go watch it, where I talked about specifically these sorts of teams and the team building ideas and stuff like that. And that's why it was so burned into my head that was the order, because that's the order I talked to him about it in. So I remember talking to him about the end of Ecstatic, what had happened, what had gone wrong, how the Copenhagen Flames rebuild happened, and what happened, what went wrong, cough, his opinions on Regali, cough. Or Regalie, as he pronounces it, which I don't know if that's correct or what, but whatever.
It's Danish, if nothing else.
Yeah, certainly very Danish way of saying it. And then after that, the Zero Nation mess, basically, because it didn't go to plan. So yeah, I just couldn't remember the name of the team. I was frustrated. I see the logo, just couldn't remember the name.
Yep. Well, congratulations. You actually did slightly better than I expected, I think. I thought you were going to be complete rubbish, but the fact that you had gotten 0-0 Nation, I think is great.
Yeah, it's a shock to everyone. Did have to cheat. Right, let's power through to the Eternal Shuffle. Quack, give me some roster moves. I'll give some grades, and then we can prospect it up and leave. What's up?
Very brief, this one. We've obviously already talked about this one as well. Liquid finally benched Shui and signed JT. It happened this week, finally.
Yep, A+. You had to do this. You had to move on from Shuhei, and JT is as good as it gets. And clearly, well, we've got some evidence. It fucking worked so far. So, yeah, the grade would have been A or A+ anyway. The actual results is icing on the cake.
Very well done. Policy disband, and the trio of Kloku, Exist, and Spero as the coach joined BetClick.
This is one of the Polish roster moves of all time. Nobody will notice that this happened, and it'll be a very difficult sort of how do I put this? A trivia question to answer in the future. Exactly what to expect. Exactly who is playing on this roster. So yeah.
Correct. You remember the AM Achieve Minds? Their core got a new team. They've joined up with MOUZ and previous Heroic Academy player MOUZ to join a team called Nordic Partners.
Yeah, there's some sort of like Spanish coaching involved in this, isn't there? Because I saw some.
Yes, Musambani also came from AM, and Kairi, I think, was assistant coaching previously of Navi Junior or Navi Youth, one of the two.
Yeah, MOUZ is interesting. Like he's a bit weird. Like he's played on some weird rosters and mixed results. Is he gonna be IGLing this group? Probably. I don't know.
Him or Keto. Keto has always called AM. Well, him or Too High. Since Too High left, it's always been Keto, I think. But I'm not sure what the situation is with MOUZ.
But Musiek, he had some flashes with the Heroic Academy. So I'm interested in that. Mulsi has been, he was one of the only riflers who has ever worth a damn on Ensis Academy. And Marix has had flashes specifically with AM. It's not the craziest roster, but it's good for them that they got themselves a team, and just congratulations to AM for making it work.
Yeah. And finally today, no great news. Algo has disbanded, and just to make this slightly more interesting, Quack, me, can confirm this is the team that Cypher was cryptically tweeting about. When he said that just as he was about to sign a new contract, the same org he was signing for disbanded. This is Algo. They have disbanded. And we're apparently about to sign Cypher, part of that previously reported roster. So yeah, the players who were there most recently were, I'll just check what their last match was. Andu, Adex, Nukie, Shane, and Bambosh. This is the good Adex, not the Polish.
Sucks for Cypher that he doesn't get that contract. This roster was a bit of a mixed bag, a bit of a mess. Wouldn't probably have amounted to much. So, not sure he's lost too much, but hey, it's always a shame when a team disbands and someone leaves the scene. So yeah, it's too bad, but nothing too dramatically lost.
Nope, and that's all the shuffles.
Okay, not what the hell that was. But let's wrap the show up the way we always do with prospects of the week. I've gone for a very obvious pick, and it's the last time I'll ever mention him in the prospects column, probably, because he's now going to be playing in Tier 1 play fairly frequently. Jorko. 4 maps. Doesn't get much better than what he put on. Great event as a debut in the online portion. We'll see how the LAN holds up. But so far, so brilliant for the Liquid Edition. This is better than what Ultimate was giving you. So you love to see it. Some of the talent on display, we'll see if it lasts. We'll see if it holds up. We'll see how he does under pressure and under a few more flashbangs and a bit more attention.
Yeah. I have gone for Zenyi, Shenyi, however you want to say it. Tidy little Ukrainian player for Noirverse, 20 years old. I saw him play when they were in Jönköping for Journey. he was. I mean, he put up a pretty good performance. The team as a whole put up a pretty good performance, being quite a young squad, to kind of show up in those circles. I really liked Zenji because he was very vocal. He was very much the guy jumping around, screaming, and being really quite driving the team forward in a very good way. And they're now playing in Urban Riga Open, where they have just finished second in their group with a single win out of 3 games. But they were close games, and he played pretty well. So thumbs up for Zenji and noahhhcs with a 131 rating today.
Yeah, a little bit of an obscure pick. I didn't recognize the name, so hopefully you've actually watched them before. They didn't just pick someone purely off of a green number. That's nice. But yeah, no, interesting little pickup. I'll be paying attention to them. He's an AWPer from what I saw. Not much more to add right now. I haven't watched a single demo, but hey, could be exciting. But yeah, right, that's going to be our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to our contributors who are leading patrons of this channel and as well get their own show. So that's a shout out to Dylan, XL, Amnesiac, and who's the 5th one? 4th, Romich. Those 4 get a special shout out at the end of the show. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Leave your comments below about any of these topics. Sub for more. Remember that membership is the best way to support the channel, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.